Thank you for tuning in for an episode of Be Relevant. Today we are joined by very relevant Brittany Applegate, who is an Illinois State University graduate with a degree in marketing. Brittany currently works at Upshot Agency. After years of experience advertising businesses, she decided to start her own brand company, self-named Brittany Applegate. Brittany, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So her business started in 2015 for millennials like myself and maybe yourself, and it's only to help those with small businesses, creatives, anybody, right, Brittany?
Yeah. Young professionals.
Young professionals. And it's really just to take on branding who you are and what you want people to see. So Brittany, tell me, what made you go into this industry?
Yeah, so my father actually, he served as a director of marketing for numerous hospitals across Chicago. So growing up in my household, I was just always around a man who was always networking, who was developing flyers and figuring out ways to make his business better, to make more money. And so I think just naturally being around that and just being a naturally social person myself, when I did go into college, I actually started off majoring in accounting. And so I had an internship at an accounting firm and did not like it. And it was at that point where I realized that I needed to stay true to myself and that I had this bubbly personality, that I was very social, and I had a knack for in college, if I say like the parties here, people would show up. From there, I think it was just really about staying true to myself. And so I got into marketing my senior year. I actually switched my major, which is something very risky. If you're a senior, you do not switch your major in that last moment. But when I did that, everything shifted for me. I landed a few very amazing internships that pretty much put my foot in the door, and since then it's just kind of been a really exciting experience for me.
That is fantastic. And let's talk about bringing those skills that you currently have into your own company, your own consulting firm.
Yeah.
So that's a very exciting thing, but it's also a very scary thing. So tell me, what challenges did you face when you decided, this is what I want to do, I want to help my community, I want to help my friends with launch their businesses? What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
I would say one of the larger challenges that I faced was time management. So I do have a full-time job, and so that is my priority, my full-time job, because that is my bread and butter, and that's where I'm allowed to actually learn all these amazing things that I gained from that experience in advertising and share it with these small businesses and young professionals. So time management was a challenge. Another challenge was positioning myself to be marketable to other people, where they felt like I was a credible individual to actually help their businesses grow, to actually put them in a position where they came off as desirable, like whatever they had to give to the world, it was my job to help them make whatever that service is or whatever that product is or who they are more desirable to other people. So it was just like building that credibility that definitely came from working in the industry, and then I think everything else just flowed. It wasn't too many other challenges, but those were like the primary ones.
So what would you say about finances? I know I have a lot of friends who shy away from doing their own business because they say, oh, I don't have the money. And although they have an amazing talent to share, they're just afraid of that financial leap of faith. So how did you deal with that?
I would say finances, if you see finances as a barrier to enter into whatever your gift is or whatever business you want to start, I think that's an excuse. I think that you can start whatever you want to start with $0 in your pocket. For example, when I launched, I didn't really at that time protect anything legally. For me, it was just about let me get my name out here. And so I was thinking to myself, if I pull in these clients, if I make this quick $100 or $500, I'm gonna only take that money and invest it back into my business. So you take that $500 and then you incorporate yourself and you buy that trademark, and then any additional money that you make from the services that you're giving, you continue to invest that into your business until you're kind of in a position where now you're profiting. And so if you feel like finance is an issue, like you don't have the money, another thing that you can do is just network with people. So if you don't have a website and you can't afford to hire a website developer who's going to charge you $500 to $1,000, go find a college student who's just brilliant at designing websites and tell them, I will hire you and I will pay you $50 if you can just give me a really nice presentable website. There's ways around it. You just have to be willing to network with other people and just utilize your resources. I don't think money should be a huge barrier when you're trying to go after what you love anyway.
That's true. So first you have to be disciplined with the funds that you do receive, if anyone gives you money, and then you also have to just be hungry and you have to go out there and be passionate about what you're offering. So it really boils down to being confident in what you're bringing people, and that they should definitely value what you're offering, so the services that you provide.
And like you said, hunger, I think hunger is like the driving force of all that you do. So if you really want something bad enough, if you're really hungry, if you really want to eat, aka make money, you kind of figure out the ways to do that. So if time management is a challenge for me, then I have to figure out, I'm hungry, I still want to make these additional dollars, so I have to sacrifice sleep so that I can gain more time. Or if money is an issue for me, then maybe I need to pick up an extra job or something like that, or a few hours at work so I can just gain a couple more dollars. But to Kaz's point, it's really about hunger, so be hungry.
Hungry. Okay, very good. So I guess I also know a lot of people, they don't really have something that's a brand for them. They don't feel like they have a brand. They feel like, well, I really don't. I'm just a sales clerk, or I'm just a secretary, or I'm just a model, whatever the case is. What would you say to those people that come to you, I really don't have a brand, help me?
I would say, okay, so my favorite rapper is Jay-Z. And he has this quote where he feels like God has given everybody a genius level talent, and that it's very hard to believe that only she was gifted with some talent and I was gifted with a talent, but this person just didn't receive anything. And so because that concept is pretty impossible to believe, if you are somebody that believes in God, I feel that if you feel like you're not a brand, you just haven't really found your gift and what that may be. And so your homework would be to figure out exactly what your gifts are. And so if you find yourself singing in the car and you are killing it, maybe you should be at an open mic and you should be singing to other people and give the gift of your voice away. If you are someone who in college you were like designing all the flyers for the party, maybe you're a graphic designer and that should be the route that you go down. But I do believe that everybody is a brand, and you don't have to have a business to be a brand. You could be a secretary at BET Networks, and you could be the baddest secretary at the front desk. Your brand could be known for always coming to work with beautiful outfits, with luxurious hair, with this amazing personality, and one day a correspondent calls in sick and they just need somebody really beautiful to come on set, and that's you, because every day when you showed up, your brand was that you were beautiful, that you were personable, and you showed that you were professional and you took your job serious. Even though you were a secretary, you took that serious and it opened up doors for you. So I would never allow someone to believe that they weren't a brand. And so that's also why I brand young professionals, because everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. So maybe you want to become the director at your company by 30. I believe all of that is possible. It's just how you position yourself and how you allow others to perceive you through branding.
Absolutely. So speaking of branding, so a lot of people are not familiar with social media. Social media is the new biggest thing, not even really new anymore.
Right.
You have the hashtags, you have the statuses that you need to keep updated. What do you say to people who say, I don't have the followers to take my brand to the next level, or I don't have a page, I don't need to?
Yeah.
I know some businesses have their personal page and then they have their business page.
Yeah.
How do you feel about interlocking the two? Do you feel like that's okay, or should you have your personal and your business?
I would say that for me personally, I only have one page, and that's pretty much because I am my business. But then I also know that my followers exist where my personal page is. And so if I was to start a separate social media account just to post quotes about branding and all these other things, I think my business would not be as successful, because at the same time, people support you because they like you. And so you could be, for example, you have your own personal page, but then you can have, Kaz, the media correspondent page. At the end of the day, people are going to pay more attention to your personal page because they like you. Mm-hmm. And so now when you're pushing out all this content on your personal page, you know for a fact that people are going to look at it because they actually follow you. So I'm a firm believer in just having one page, unless you have a legit company and you have employees working for you and things like that. Then it's like your company page will be considered the family page. But if it's just you, if you're a one-man show, you're rocking it by yourself, I think that you should figure out your social media personality and make sure that that's coming through in your personal pages.
I couldn't agree more. I do have just the one page, and I definitely agree. When it comes down to getting your supporters, they're going to support you because it's you, mm-hmm. and your idea is brilliant, of course, but in order to get people to follow you on your business page, you have to first start with your personal. Yeah. So why not keep it personal until you grow? And maybe you do get staff. And then now we're talking about something else. Now we're in a different ball game.
And then to that point, I also feel that if you feel like your following is low and that you don't have enough followers to actually launch something and be successful, then that's when you really start doing the groundwork and you start growing that following. And so now you are using better hashtags. If you're just posting something but you're not using a hashtag, it's difficult for people to engage with you who are interested in what you're talking about. Another way that you can grow followers is to follow other people and engage with them. Just don't follow them and never like their post or leave comments. Half the time when you follow someone and you engage with them, if you like their post, if you leave comments, they'll go on your page like, who is this? And at that point, they might find you interesting enough to follow back. And so those are two ways right there, hashtags and following other people. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you're actually putting out relevant content. So whatever it is that you do or whatever service you provide, you need to put that out in a way that is unique to your personality. So my personality isn't necessarily the super professional, button-up, young professional. Mine, if I had to describe it, I would say it's business casual. And so on my page, every now and then you might see some business. I might drop some branding tips, but then I'm also going to show you what I did on Saturday night that me and my girls went out and we took some shots, because people like people and human beings. So I think if you take those 3 tips, your following should grow substantially. And if you don't see it growing, then you probably didn't try those tips.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say to someone who has friends and family who are like yourself when you decided to launch this business? Mm-hmm. How many friends did you have to say, oh my God, Brittany, I need 25 or 30 minutes of your time? Mm-hmm. And then you give them these tips and their advice and you're not seeing that being utilized.
Yeah. I would say when you launch your business, first of all, family and close friends sometimes do feel like they are a priority. And so if I get requests all the time like, hey Britt, I need my resume done, all the time, and sometimes it comes off like you should be stopping what you do right then and there to do my resume, or sometimes your family and close friends can feel entitled to free work. And so my first advice is set ground rules from the start. So when family and close friends reach out to you and they want you to do something for free, teach them about what it means to be an entrepreneur. Teach them about why you're actually doing this so you can make more money because you have financial goals that you want to achieve. And then also teach them that you have priorities. So I can't stop what I'm doing for you because I have to deliver something to someone else. But also at that same time, you know, love on your family. Don't necessarily push them away. And then I kind of forgot the rest of the question.
No, but you were great. So as far as that
I had to talk about that.
but
family and friends really have tried. Oh, but okay, I will say this. However, so I'm a big follower of Myleik Teal. She is the founder of Curlbox, and one thing that she said was like, all you need really when you kind of glow up is 1,000 core supporters, and those 1,000 core supporters can make you 6 figures, and they can make you $1 million. And so you should really be focused on getting those supporters, and so that would be your target audience. More often than not, your family is not your target audience. So if you feel like your family is not engaging with your company, or just you as a professional who's out here killing it, they're not really your target anyway. Like, they're not going to be the ones always buying your products. They're not going to be the ones always watching your show, sharing your pages. It's just that they're not the target, so you shouldn't take that personal. But you should be hungry, and you should be going after the people who you know will support you because they need you. So put less focus on my friends and family aren't supporting me and they my day ones. It don't matter, they're not your target. Go after the people who are actually going to put money in your pocket and tell other people about you.
That is so true. I think people make the first mistake of they keep going to the same supporters, which is your mom, your dad, your aunts, grandma, and eventually you will tap out of funds. And while you were looking at that small circle of family, you should have been reaching out. Your net should have been way larger. So that is very good advice. But what would you say to someone who, like the people who don't have the followers, so now they're looking at buying followers? We all know that does not work. Don't do it. Don't waste your money.
That's corny, y'all.
Too often I see businesses and you click on their profile of who's following them, and they only have two followers themselves. And you can just tell it's so corny. Like, don't do it. Organic followers. The support, they're lacking the family, they're lacking the followers. How can you, as their consultant, help them find that support that they're looking for and that they definitely need to grow?
My advice would be, like I said at the beginning, or maybe I didn't say it, but figure out exactly who you are. I think if you don't have that support right away, that may be a good time for you to really define what your business goals are, define your brand identity. So like, who am I? What are my gifts? What gifts do I have to give away? And how do I want to give these gifts away? And so while you have this time where you're kind of hidden because you're not necessarily popping yet, this is the time where you could really make sure that like your products and services are tight before you give them away. So take advantage of that time first and foremost. The second thing that you need to be doing is networking. So if your following and your supporters don't necessarily live on social media, that's fine. Find your way to a networking event, get some business cards, and go build those outside relationships. On those business cards, make sure you put your social media information so now they can follow you and stay in touch. But a lot of times we see these Instagram celebrities and they have like 10,000 followers and it's like, who are you? But they're not really making any money. But then you can have this regular, I always say regular, smuggler, because I watch Love and Hip Hop and that's Cardi B. But you have these like regular people on Instagram and they may have 300 followers, but they're bringing in money, and that's because they're networking. And so they don't need to work as hard on social media because all of their business comes from outside relationships. So make sure you are tightening up your brand before you actually launch, and then when you want that audience to clap for you when you actually launch, go find them. So go to networking events, build personal relationships with people, gather emails and start an email list so that when you're ready to share whatever you have, share with your personal email list, and then ask them to support you in that email. Say, hey, can you share this with 5 of your friends? And if they really support you, they'll do that.
Earlier this week, you on Facebook, you actually posted something very interesting, and you gave tips about supporting your friends and family when you share a post, how to go about that. I would love for you to share that with the viewers today.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think quite often we do need help, and I don't think you should ever be too prideful where you don't ask for help. However, I think sometimes we ask our friends and family to help us and to share it with their networks because we want to be more visible, and they just repost it and they don't leave a comment, or they repost your original post and they just leave it there. Like I said, they don't leave a comment. And so what I've been seeing is a lot of really basic support tactics on social media, and I feel that it's important that your friends and family, or even you, know that when someone asks you to support them, this is how you do it. So the first thing you want to do is actually share an organic post, so the organic link. So if I'm a blogger and I wrote an article and I'm asking my cousins to share it, I don't want them to necessarily share it off my page and not say anything. I want you to go to my website, click on the share post on my blog, and share it as if you just came across it yourself, and then leave a comment and talk about something that was interesting in it, like, wow, I love this part of it, that really resonated with me. Hey y'all, check this out. Oh, and by the way, my cousin Brittany Applegate wrote it. More people will engage with it that way because it seems original. The second thing is that if you do share a post that your friend had posted already, make sure that you still leave a comment and talk about it, because if you just repost something, people don't really have an incentive to read it, or they don't have an incentive to engage with it. So make sure you're always leaving comments. And then lastly, I would say, like, if you're not gonna really support it, just don't post it at all. You don't really want to harm anybody else's brand by making it seem really generic if you're not gonna actually cheer them on. So when someone does ask you to share something, or when you tell your family and friends to share something, you may have to instruct them on how to do it. Like, this is what I want you to say, because that way more people are actually engaged with you, and they're more compelled to follow whatever you want them to follow, buy whatever you want them to buy, or attend whatever you want them to attend. But it's ways to do it the right way.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. So, absolutely. So everything that you've shared, you are really dropping major keys. I hope everyone's taking notes. What makes you relevant, Brittany Applegate? Tell me what makes you relevant, and how do you remain relevant?
I think what makes me relevant overall is that I'm alive. I think that every day that you are alive and you're breathing, that means that you still have a purpose in this world. And so I don't think you should take that for granted. And so for that reason, that's like the overall reason that I know I'm relevant. But what truly makes me relevant is that, like, I operate in my gifts, and so I'm very in tune with who I am. And every single day I live as that person. So I know that I'm a connector, and that I can connect people with other people that they need to take them to the next level. I can connect people with resources, and then I can also connect the dots to someone's vision, and I can help bring that to life. And so that makes me relevant alone, because I help create relevancy in other people's lives. Yeah,
that's amazing. No, I like that. Yeah, that's very important. I think far too often people decide to hide their gifts, or they're selfish with their gifts. And I like the fact that you're sharing your gifts and you're helping people build along the way. And hopefully after this interview, people will definitely hit Brittany up.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I want to ask you this question. Tell me, what are the top 5 branding tips that you would give someone? And I hope you guys are writing this down.
Yes, you got
free tips. It's not free to sit down with this lady. So free tips, 5 tips that you would say, this is what you need to do right now.
Yeah. So number 1, like I've said before, is know who you are. When you know who you are and you're true to yourself, I think all things will flow from that in a genuine way. And people, like, real recognize it's real. So if you are being yourself, somebody will support you for being real. The second thing I would say is to really identify your gifts And so I say this all the time to my clients, but your gifts are meant to give away. And so the moment that you figure out that I am gifted in this, and this, give it away. You can charge people as you give it away, but that's what you're supposed to give away. And then the way that you package that gift that you're giving away, I would start on social media. So number 3, get your social media together. I would not launch a brand or anything until I know I have a room of people who are going to clap for me. And so that comes from making your social media tight, deleting any pictures that could just not really resonate with your brand anymore. Have some content available so that when people actually start following you, that they have a lot to engage with, and then start following other people and telling people about what you're about to do. The 4th thing I would do is build your website. So if you don't have a website, you really don't exist, and I don't care what anybody tells you, you need a website, because that will be the central hub for everything about you and what you have to offer. So your bio, your contact information, any events that you'll be at. If you have hobbies, put those hobbies on your website. If you like to talk about popular culture and current events and you're very opinionated, blog about it, but you do need a website. And then the 5th thing I would say is to just bring everything together as one big package. Go get a headshot. Headshots are important. Make sure that that's consistent across all your social media profiles. Go get you some business cards so that when you're out here networking now and building these relationships, you have something to give people. And then back to networking, the package comes together when you are building those relationships. A lot of the time, your opportunities come from the relationships that you're building. So if you're not building relationships, you might feel like you're not going as far as you could, but that's on you. So yeah, build those relationships. I would say those are the 5 things, and if you do those 5 things, then you should be set. You should be just fine.
Absolutely. And the 6th thing is to contact Brittany.
You can get in touch with me on my website, so that's www.brittanyApplegate.com. You can also follow me on social media. My Twitter handle is @BrittApplegate. That's BRITT Applegate. And on Instagram, if you really want to get in tune with me, you can follow me at BEE_AYE. So it's kind of like BA, but that it came in college, y'all. It just never went away. So,
well, you got to keep your originality, right? You got to keep your roots.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for tuning in.